Hi there. Welcome. Pink Lady presents Lives Well Lived. Well, let me tell you, we definitely have a life that not only is well lived, being well lived, to be well lived, is a man that we owe a lot to. We owe his working as I call him a communication between the experiences that he had in the service with the youth of today. And we're going to go into that, how very, very important that is. But first, Ronnie Geyer. Hello.
Welcome,
Welcome,
Ron.
welcome,
Good to see
welcome.
you.
Thank you so much for coming.
For your service in the Army.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
And how long did you spend in the Army?
2 years I was a draftee, and it defined me for the rest of my life.
It did. How
Yes.
young were you?
I was 21 going in and 23 when I came out.
Wow.
He and I served at the exact same
Yes.
time.
Really?
Yes.
I was in Europe
And
during
he
the
was
Vietnam War,
in-
and
and
he
you were
was
in-
in country,
In
Yes.
country.
getting
Country.
shot at
Yes.
and wounded, and
And
for
wounded.
which you received the Purple Heart.
A Purple Heart looks like this. This is a pin that
Okay.
I wear on the lapel pin. The
Thank
other
you
one, that
again
was
for your service.
54 years ago. Yes.
How many years ago now?
54 years.
54 years
Yes.
ago.
As proud as Ron is, we are so proud to have him here because you represent all of the people who have received a Purple Heart.
Thank you.
In Vietnam, what was your duty? What?
I was on the ship going over to Vietnam, and I was picked by Hal Moore, who was our battalion commander,
Right.
played by Mel Gibson in the movie We Were Soldiers,
Yes.
to be his radio man driver orderly.
Oh.
So halfway over, before getting to Vietnam, I started wearing the radio that I'd be carrying for him
I see.
on the deck of the ship because I needed to get used to the weight.
Right.
And
right.
so
How
when-
heavy was it?
Well, everything all together was about 35 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But all the gear together that we carried, plus 300 rounds of ammunition in a pack and a flak jacket and all of that,
Wow,
and the
okay.
and the weapon you're talking, I was 115 pounds and carrying half my weight,
Oh, wow.
60 pounds.
So now, when you got into Vietnam, what did you do? What happened there?
We flew right in off the ship. We hit the beach at Queen Anne, and then we walked up to the airport that was there. They had an airfield at Queen Anne, and then we
Right.
got into a Chinook helicopter to fly into the center of the country, the center of the highlands, to start up where we were going to be working,
Right.
in so many words. But as we were going from the seaside area to the interior of the country, we were flying over what they call Highway Route 19, which is enemy infested. So we were about 800 feet or 1,000 feet over that as we were flying, and we could look down and we could see these jets, American jets, F-100s and F-101 Voodoo jets,
Right.
coming underneath us like this, dropping napalm on either side of the road
Ooh,
to protect us who were flying
Correct.
above that.
Right,
you know,
right.
and said, "Oh wow, this is something." And we land, and we get in with no problems. And I walk out of the helicopter, and I'm looking at a world that is entirely green. Everything is green except the clay on the ground, which is burnt orange,
Right.
and the sky, which is deep blue. And I just got off a ship where everything was blue, right? So it was, wow, you are definitely here. You are here, Ron. You
And
are-
how did you get into photography?
One of the first things that Hal Moore, the colonel, instructed me to do was, and I had a camera with me, a little Brownie camera.
Okay.
No cell phones, okay? And he had a man that was his radio man and driver, but what I was doing, going back home, because
Right.
his 2 years in the service was over with, but he was a professional photographer, meaning that he would take pictures of a lot of the colonel and everything that's going on.
Okay.
So he wanted me to be trained by this professional photographer, and I just
What an opportunity.
yeah, and so I was taught how to frame everything, and I got 2 half-frame cameras and put them right down here with a little bag over it, a little plastic
Right.
bag with 2 different ASA speeds, and went to town. Anytime I got off a helicopter and we were not in a firefight,
Right.
I was taking pictures, and I took a lot of pictures. I had closer access to Hal Moore, who is now considered officially proclaimed as the best infantry battalion commander
Yes.
of the 20th century.
Wow.
I was a radio man driver to order to him right up until our first major battle. And I had all these pictures. He would have me closer to him than any of his officers or anybody
I
else.
think
It's-
that's fair. Well,
yeah.
we're gonna stop for talking for a few minutes just to see Vietnam Speaks.
The face of all of us who served in Vietnam is represented in this picture, and gleefully so.
What was not so different, I think, is the reception upon coming home.
If you are in Vietnam, we are brothers. We can talk.
3 local veterans share their war stories on Vietnam Speaks.
And that was absolutely fabulous. Now, you got, for Vietnam Speaks, tell everyone about this. Now, you do it. This is yours. Tell everyone.
I share this with people
Yes,
because
you do.
I give it to them and I say, please hold it like this and say these words. I'd like to thank the members of the Academy for this award, and it becomes a real experience for them. This is a gift from God for me being able to have it and share it, and so that's what I do. So would you like to be?
I'd definitely like to hold it.
I'd like-
Oh, my goodness.
Your first Emmy.
My
Yeah.
first Emmy,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And tell everyone you got it for.
I got it for Vietnam Speaks, which is a PBS television special from 2018. 3 of us veterans, Vietnam veterans, are interviewed by PBS, by a production company in the Inland Empire, Team Cooper Entertainment.
Okay.
And Christy Cooper, who is the producer, already had 4 Emmys from back east when she was doing the same thing for the Pentagon.
But you got it for all the
We-
pictures that
we
you
got
took,
it for all the
right?
pictures, and 3 of us were interviewed, and us
Right.
3, one of the 3 is the director of the Riverside National Cemetery.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so
know
Peter
him.
Young.
yeah,
Yeah.
Pete Young. So
Yes.
yeah.
primo guy.
Yes.
So what they end up doing is they get the Emmy, and so do all the tech guys, and so do all the interviewees. So there's 3 Vietnam War veterans walking around here in this country for the first time with an Emmy Award.
I
That's
love that.
phenomenal.
Wow.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
tell us, what is, and I wasn't quite sure when I read it, there was a Mr. Matson Award. Well, now, what is that?
When I came back from when I came back from the Vietnam War in flying in air transportation, we were
Right.
the first ones attacking with helicopters, coordinating air assault from aircraft and artillery to win battles, and we won the first major battle of the Vietnam War.
Right.
We were in Custer's regiment in the second battle of the Little Bighorn.
Okay.
Only this time we won with air mobility. Hal Moore made sure that we won, and it was very, very good. And I witnessed this, and I was a part of history. All of this, recorded it with all of that, with the photographs, 1,000 slides, and came back after my 2 years in the service was finished, and immediately went to work for Matson Steamship Lines to and from Hawaii.
Oh,
Matson Lines,
that's
the Lurline,
it.
Matsonia
Okay.
passenger liners,
Right.
all of that. So I was right in the middle of all of that.
And
from
what
the
did you
air.
do for them?
I was terminal services, so I ended up, going on board and taking care of passengers and taking the loading papers into the chief officer.
You are so
And,
versatile.
I mean,
Ronnie.
and then the cars, people shipping their cars to Hawaii.
Right.
Hawaii Five-0 when it started, Magnum PI, they shipped over their cars. We'd ship them over, their police cars and all of that.
Oh, my
and then
Lord.
when the series were ending,
Right.
the stars came and picked up their own cars.
Yeah.
Wow. It's
No, it's
too
just-
bad you don't enjoy your
Oh
life.
my God,
I mean-
yes. Well, in my handling, half my 33 years was in the customer service with cars, people shipping their cars.
Well, I can see that.
And
yeah.
so the company had set up report cards for the passengers,
Right.
for the people that send into the headquarters, grade your
Right,
experience,
grade
right?
the experience.
Well, all the other things were coming in with bad reviews. in
Except
Hawaii,
yours.
Except ours. It was
Well,
100%,
yeah.
and it was great. So they ended up naming me Mr. Matson.
I
It's
love
great.
it.
Just
Now
And
I
we
know.
get you on
Right.
Take
Just
Lady
once.
Presents.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's the only time they did that. But,
I think that is
it's
fabulous.
fun.
And Ronnie, everything that you've done,
yes.
you enjoyed that,
Yes.
and each and every one of things. But what lessons did you, how do we say, learned in Vietnam that helped you? Because you went in young. How did those lessons help you in civilian life?
It defined me.
Okay,
It's a blessing for the experience.
okay.
I found carrying in person during the first major battle of the Vietnam War,
Right.
carrying our dead and wounded. Wow. I thought I grew up next to a brand new Disneyland in the 50s, thinking I was going to grow up to be a good Mouseketeer in the Mickey Mouse Club.
Right.
Hi there, Mouseketeers. Hi there, Mickey. And I was taught how to ballroom dance by Mouseketeer Bobby. All of that. But I'm carrying in 1965 November the dead and wounded.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there really is such a thing as hate in this world.
Yes,
There
yes.
really,
Wow.
truly is. And then the second thing came, oh my, there really are people out there in this world who hate the free for being free.
Right.
And it's just that simple.
Right.
So that's how it was defined. So I followed that for the rest of my life. And I ended up in this century representing the first Vietnamese American to become a state legislator in U.S. history. From the state
How long did you do that?
8 years.
About 8 years,
Yeah, 8 years. And but that was his face and voice in Southern California. He was a 1-year-old little boy in Saigon when I was 200 miles north of him in that Valley of Death battle, the Battle of the Ai Drang Valley. Wow. And he ended up in Garden Grove after freedom fell in Vietnam, where I grew up. And he was mayor pro tem. He was city councilman. We
You
bonded.
connected.
We connected, and so I'm his man in little Saigon. I'm very close to the Vietnamese. Their love of freedom and their love of freedom is what the rest of this country should start looking at, because
Right.
because they are the ones who had their freedom violently taken from
Correct.
them.
Right.
We cut off our funding for them to fight for their
Right.
freedom with, just as the Russians gave them billions of dollars to the communist north to take over the South with communism.
Well, with all these experiences, you then did what I think is a fantastic thing. You took yourself and you put yourself in the schools of our country here.
Yes.
And you told our young people all about what you did
Yes.
and why you did it
Yes.
and why they have to grow up to know that this is the best country and to protect it.
Yes.
Tell me about your experiences in the schools.
It's wonderful to be able to share your passion.
Yes, it is.
And my passion is twofold, but the first one is clarity of what's real and what isn't,
Right.
no matter what's being reported. No matter what's being reported. I found when I came back home, this is part of the experience,
Yes.
that the Vietnam War itself was being misreported to the American people, and thus it's been misremembered.
Yeah.
Okay? It's changed 50 plus years later now.
Right.
People are starting to understand.
Understand.
They need to ask us, well, what's really going on? Because they've seen the Vietnam War TV series by Ken Burns, and it shows very graphically on widescreen TVs what we were suffering through over there in Vietnam, to come home to people that hated us and treated us like the communist enemy, that we
Now,
were the bad guys.
Do you take, well, we're going to show our audience the Living School Project.
Mm-hmm.
Do you show that all the time to everyone to get funds for you to do all this?
There's no funds. This is volunteer.
Fabulous.
And you do it with joy in your heart. And I'm a happy man.
I love it. I want to show our audience
Okay, yeah.
the Living School Project now. so
It's
that
living
we can-
history. Yeah.
Living history.
Yes, living
Right,
history.
Thank you.
Forget history from a textbook.
George Chambers, Senior Chief Petty Officer in the U.S. Navy, Korean War and Vietnam.
For the 20th straight year, Corona Del Mar High School students are getting their lessons on war directly from our veterans.
Danny Berg, Specialist for Vietnam in the Army.
It's called the Living History Project.
And it just showed that the impact was lifelong, and it was always going to affect him, and it showed me that I shouldn't take anything for granted. I should be thankful for those who have provided for us.
Sophomores have spent the last month getting to know veterans from all branches of the military. Today, 80 of them were invited to a luncheon in the gym, along with more than 400 teenagers who are celebrating their stories of service.
Because they're really interested in hearing about our experiences and life lessons. We share our life lessons.
A meaningful lesson for students to learn from the living while they still can.
We'll be right back.
At one time or another, Every family is faced with mobility issues for a loved one. Call Before You Fall is here for you with all the safety and mobility solutions your family needs. Come see Alex in the Call Before You Fall showroom, or if you can't, they'll come to you in one of their fully stocked service vans. So put your mind at ease today. Call Alex at 1-800-829-1491. Remember, be on the safe side. We want to acknowledge you one more time. We don't have an Emmy for you, but
But we have something almost as good.
as the
I-
president of the LA National Cemetery Foundation, which I do as a volunteer,
That's how you know Pete.
we have started a new program, and we developed what in the military you and I would call a challenge coin,
Yes.
but we call it a presentation
Oh,
coin.
my
But
goodness.
it's the first time in 100 years that a national cemetery has done this. We want you to receive this with our gratitude for everything you did for our country and continue doing with
Thank
our
you.
youth, to let them know that freedom is not free.
Thank
And
you.
we all pay a price. Thank you for your service.
Oh, my goodness, look at this.
There it is,
Oh, my.
and show
Thank you, Ronnie.
We are so proud to give this to you. And as you know, that Dove is president of the National Cemetery here of Los
Foundation.
Angeles Foundation.
Yeah.
Ron, we're going to show a few pictures. I'd like you to just tell a brief thing about each one. The one right now that we're showing with a group of soldiers and everything.
That is our 40th anniversary at the Vietnam Wall in
Wow.
Washington, D.C. The first major battle of the Vietnam War was our unit, and we are being honored by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff there in 2005.
I love it. And the next one?
That's an air assault. We are going into another operation. An air assault means flying into possibly battle.
Whoa,
Okay.
wow.
And that's near Sunset in the central lowlands of Vietnam.
Fabulous picture.
The Hueys are open air on the sides. So you can sit there and you can take a picture, just like you're in front of your house. That's great.
How high were you flying at the time?
We were about 1,000, 2,000 feet in the air.
Oh
Yeah, and it was getting
God.
dark. This photograph here is the picture of us.
Oh,
This is a happy, smiling face. He said, Geyer, as we're getting off our truck from being in the first division-sized operation of the war,
Right.
he says, Geyer, are you ready to take, wouldn't this be a good time to take my picture? I said, yes. And I had jumped off the helicopter, turned around, and, off the truck,
right.
and took my plastic bag off a camera and turned right around and took the picture right in front of him in about 4 seconds on
I
the fly.
love that.
And that is a lead in on Vietnam Speaks.
Oh,
And this is the
great.
magazine. This is the photograph that Ken Burns chose to put in his book of the Vietnam War.
Wow.
And that is our face. We are not downtrodden,
Right,
dark pictures.
Right.
That's our face.
That's great. And this one,
This is historic. This is Colonel Hal Moore.
uh-huh,
We had just finished our battle in the Ai Drang Valley, the first major battle.
Right.
And we'd been helicoptered up to Pleiku, which was 30 miles away. And this is the next morning. He wakes everybody up, come in front of us. Here, we got something I got to tell you. He said, General Westmoreland, our commanding general of
Right.
Vietnam, had sent a wire congratulating our intrepid men of the 7th Cavalry Regiment for our outstanding battle victory in the Battle of the Ai Drang Valley. He reads it, he gets down, and then immediately up pops the general himself, gets on there and doubles it. He salutes us directly.
wow.
Yeah. Well, I salute you, gentlemen of the 1st Battalion, U.S. 7th Cavalry, for your intrepid victory in the Battle of the Ai Drang Valley.
Yeah.
Ooh, how
History.
many pictures would you think in all that you took?
1,000.
1,000
1,000.
altogether.
Yeah.
Altogether, they weren't all battle, but they were all
Now, are
in
you
the
going to
country.
put them in a book?
You
should.
God was going to show me how He wants them used. Right now, that one right there is in a book. It's in one's gone around the world.
I think you should put it in
Oh.
Ronnie Geyer's book.
It's a Smithsonian
It really is.
Institute must.
It really is.
Must
Thanks.
have.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it really is. You should
Thanks.
do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
you
we should
definitely
do, is if you decide to go forward with the project, get a hold of our folks at National at American Legion, because we are the largest veterans organization in
Right.
the world. And we
Right.
just celebrate 100 years. What better way than to relive some of our
That would be
history.
fabulous.
Chills.
So
Let's
we have a project to
Chills.
talk about.
I
Chills.
love it.
Just don't tell Frank.
No, I won't, I promise.
kidding you.
He can read, he can watch, he can look at the book
He'll know, he
afterwards.
knows,
Right.
he knows what's going on.
Anyway, again, we
Thank you.
thank you. It's overwhelming.
Thank you,
And
thank
you
you.
made it a great, great
You know,
day.
when we talk about from a Purple Heart to an Emmy, but the most important thing is a heart of gold. And we thank you because you take that with you.
Yeah,
And
everywhere.
these children meet you and they say,
Yeah.
wow, that's what defending our country is all about.
Right.
That's correct, and it's
Thank you,
real. We're
Ron
talking
Geiger.
reality.
It is real.
Yes.
Well, you're real.
Thank
You're what we call, and I know it's a cliche sometimes, but it's true.
Hmm.
Is a true American. In spirit, mind, body, everything.
Thank you. Very
Thank
blessed.
You.
Thank you.
again.
Thank
Happy
you.
to be in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to keep it safe.
Your Living History project, I wanted to ask a silly question, but I guess nothing in this world
Nothing
is silly.
No.
What are some of the questions that the young people ask you?
Well, you would think it would be ordinary questions about when did you go into the service
Right.
and stuff like that. I divert immediately
Yeah.
away from that. I share with them a little bit about what we've been talking about here, about my life's journey, because it's
Right.
about living history after all, and you know, what made a difference to you, etc.
Correct.
But the question they end up asking, I said, do I look like I'm a happy man? You know, I twirl around and stuff like that, like Mouseketeer Bobby and stuff. And they say, yes. And then they say, why are you so happy? Where's your joy? What sets you apart from everyone else?
Interesting.
And the interesting thing is
So what do you
now
answer?
they're open, and then I just give them, this is my life, and these are the choices that I made. And I found that I'm very dearly loved, no matter what I do, and that God created the plan for my life long before He ever created the physical universe. And when I heard that in my 70s, and you're hearing it now,
Right.
and I'm in the last quarter of my life, you're in the first, it's true. I'm sharing with you, and this is what it means. You are filled with joy. And that's from a veteran who, like everyone else, goes through a process when they come home.
Right.
But there are so many other veterans that do not get out of that process, the process of PTSD. And so I have found, and my goal, besides speaking to the students about living history and touching their hearts,
Right.
is to also have other veterans like myself become as happy as me. And
get
that's the goal.
I get
and
it.
that means that they get to share with students in school about their living history. And
It's like a catharticism type of thing.
it gets out.
Right.
You can get your feelings out to people who really want to hear you, and that is a healing inside. And Vietnam veterans did not want to be heard from. People didn't want to hear from a
No.
Vietnam veteran for 50 plus years. They do now. Now's your choice. Now's your chance. I'm getting veterans into our organization
Oh,
called
good.
the Freedom Committee of Orange County. Where
What is the name?
Freedom Committee of Orange County. It's
Freedom
based,
Committee of Orange County.
Right, it's based in Costa Mesa,
Okay.
and we train new members to share their story.
So if there's a veteran out there
Right.
who would like to be active in your program, how do they reach you, Ronnie?
Well, they can reach us by
Tell our camera.
yeah.
there, our
The
audience.
Freedom Committee of Orange County is a organization of veterans who speak to students in school and to each other. We meet once a month in Costa Mesa, but we are preparing members of these veterans with flash drives and preparation through audiovisual means, and we help them get their story
But
organized.
how do they get you? I mean, what's your
by
phone? What's your
the-
email?
what
What's
you
your
can-
website?
What you can do is look at www.fc-oc.org. And
Yeah.
everything's there, and contact information. And we've been doing this, I've been doing this for 15 years. It's an organization that's been for 20 years.
Right.
And you've seen there's a lot of media coverage of some of those things.
What's the youngest audience that you've
I
done?
love this. You're kidding. Master's degrees in college, high school, down to the second grade.
I love
And the
that.
second grade was a trip.
Well, I mean, I
Oh,
can imagine.
man, it
And
was
what
a
did they
trip.
ask you?
They asked the most honest, open questions.
Like?
Well, how long did you serve is one of them. What did you do? how did you feel about it? I mean, the basic questions
I
that really
love
just
that.
wonderful. And it's little, they're sitting on the carpet.
Right.
And you're standing down there with them, and I was with my teammate, right? And we just jockey back and forth.
Right.
And when it was over with, the students jump up and they come over and they hug us. And that's what we veterans
Now,
need.
is that a
That's all the
blessing?
healing process.
Right,
Well, that's
right.
my goal while I'm
Now,
doing
do
these
you
other
have
things.
children?
I have one son.
And how old is he?
He's 50 now.
Okay.
He's LAPD Metro.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
he guards the President of the United States when he comes to the Southland.
Wow.
Yeah, and his mother and I never ever figured out where on earth he came from.
I love
You know?
Well, you are a delightful guest.
Thank
because
you.
I tell you what you have that a lot of people don't have, and because of circumstances, is that you realize that in being in Vietnam, there was a chance that you wouldn't come home. Big chance. And then when you did come home, you took that experience and you put it into a positive take so that you could help other people. And more people should do that. And we hope that they will.
The one thing, if I may,
Yes.
the one thing I share with the students, to capsulize what you just said,
Right.
why am I so happy? I tell them, write this down. Please write this down. I share with them that I found that, and then right from here on, the true happiness in life comes from sacrificing on behalf of others, comma, the greater the sacrifices, the greater the happiness. And they write it down, and when they send letters back of thank you, many of them repeat it. You know, I mean, it's true. So
I love that.
be open to the world, be meek, open to the world, and then share your heart out with it, and don't be afraid to love.
Now that's what the color yellow does, and pink, because we're what they call up colors, right?
Yes.
And Ronnie, you are a delightful gentleman.
Bless your heart.
You definitely are 77 years young, but you're actually 10 or 12.
There you go.
You just are. I can.
It's really fascinating.
What's that?
As you all know, Pink wrote a book called Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life. Here's a man who got up,
Got
out, took a big risk
Right.
going into the military in wartime, survived, and has taken the rest of his life to enjoy it
Yes.
and to share your experiences with the youth. If we can let the youth understand what this country's all about, and
Yes.
that those of us who put on the uniform, we never know where we're going to be
No.
sent.
That's right.
We just go and we try to come back.
Again, I thank you. Everyone, a life that is being well lived. Ronnie Geyer, God bless you. We will see you next time. Thank you.
All through May, join us as we continue to honor our veterans and active duty right here on Channel 18 every Sunday at 5 on Pink Lady Presents.
I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die. They're gonna say, what a guy. I'm gonna play for the sky. Ain't gonna miss a thing. I'm gonna have my fling. I'm gonna live until I die. The blues I lay low, I'll make them stay low. They'll never trail over my head. I'll be a devil till I'm an angel, but until then